And we're back.
The middle hand says it's time to rock and roll.
All right, guys.
Hey, everyone.
We have spoken. See ya.
Have
Hey,
a great
everyone,
week.
welcome to JavaJawaJaw. I said JavaJawaJaw. We created our own tongue twister, and we can't even say it ourselves. JavaJawaJaw is back, right?
JavaJaw.
Hey, Ryan. Hey, Kent. It's time to rock and roll.
Oh, snap. All right, I do hear somebody in the background. Somebody's got their
That's
speakers on.
me. That's me. I'm taking care of that.
Oh, man.
Like, why? Which one of you guys is imitating me?
What a rookie. What a
good
rookie
time.
move. That's almost
time.
like making a video and then having the mic pointed the other way.
Yeah.
Nobody ever does that, right?
Yeah.
Or not using the mic at all.
I went back and
Kevin
watched that footage in that
Hemsworth,
video, and I was like, you got to be flipping kidding me.
Tracy Wood is here. Knight of Ren is here.
Jeez.
Mary777. Hey, Mary.
Mary, what's up? Night of Ren, Michelle, Tracy, what's up, guys? Ed Martin's in the house. Stuart.
Good to see everybody here. This is
Right
fantastic. 30 people at the start. That's not so bad.
That's not bad at all.
What's up? What's up, David Big Dog?
I didn't have enough time to change my green screen behind me, so it's all Marvel Legends.
Again?
Have you guys
Because
ever
that's not
considered
the fault.
doing a green screen? I have. I've considered it.
I have. When I didn't even know that was a thing, but until Sideshow released theirs, they've got that whole setup that's going on right now that I thought was kind of cool, personally.
Yeah, because I kind of would be on the Falcon.
Yeah.
I might be on the Razor Crest. I might
Yeah,
have
that
like
makes
a
sense.
child right here.
Hanging out on Endor.
I might be at the
Do they have
cantina
Razor
on
Crest
Tatooine,
background?
or Mos Eisley.
Do they have a Razor Crest background?
I don't know. I probably could make one though.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably could screen grab one or something. I don't know.
Emperor's Throne Room.
Emperor's Throne Room. I like it.
So-
Yeah, Terry's been there.
Or I could
Have I-
be in a giant garden like Snoke. Just be in a Babylon garden or something.
Ooh, comics.
Right?
I reckon I have been there, haven't I?
We can hook it up. So we got a lot of people here. How you guys doing? I hope everybody's having a good Easter weekend. Hope you're staying out of trouble and staying away from the rain. At least here in the Charlotte area, the rain is ridiculous. There's flooding going on, and it's not
Really?
going to stop anytime soon. Yeah. So I've been stuck indoors for most of the weekend. I have gone out a couple times to take care of some things, but for most of the weekend, I've been stuck in this room like a quarantine person. Honestly, I've actually got some stuff done. So what have you guys been up to this weekend?
Oh. What do you go? You go first, Ken. I got to figure it out.
He's like,
Yeah.
I got to make something up.
I got to make up a story.
I did something.
Gotta come up with the alibis.
Yeah, exactly.
Nah, it's been a pretty good weekend. Got a new wave of Marvel Legends. I found some Star Wars stuff, but
Yeah, you did.
those got dropped off to better homes.
I forgot about it. They're in my toy chest.
Oh, when you've been out, Kent, have you noticed if there's been any more 3.75-inch clones out and about?
No,
No,
it's all Black Series right now. The 6-inch.
Okay, so you think they're done, or do you think they'll be back around later on?
It is hard to tell. I would keep an eye out for maybe Target, but I think the Walmart release might be done.
Yeah, I think we're going to be stuck to ordering them online, like Big Bad Toy Store or comic shops or stuff like that. So
Okay,
might be-
I was looking for them on Amazon. I couldn't find them at all. So yeah, I know I was bad. I did the Amazon thing.
Oh,
Sorry.
hey,
Yeah.
that's all good.
I have.
How many
I've
more do you
enjoyed-
need?
I really don't think.
Well,
I
let me
need
take that
any
back.
more. It's like
Need.
wants versus needs.
Want.
I would love to have every seat in my ATTE full.
Wow.
True story.
Ambitious, ambitious. I know, but I think that it would be really, really cool to have that happen.
I think
Every
that's cool.
seat in the tank full, even a few on the steps going down. If I chose to display it that way, I think that'd be really cool. Although, frankly, I don't know where I'd put it. If I'm being fair,
The Walker's huge, especially if
The
you got the
Walker's
ramp
huge.
out. Holy,
Yeah.
I mean it's a good 3 feet.
yeah, it adds up pretty quick. It takes up a lot of shelf space. I actually have it on my floor right now. along with my AT-AT from my Kenner AT-AT that I've had since I was a child. But there's a reason for that. Straight up, there's a reason for that. That's by design. Because when I was a kid, the big toys that couldn't fit anywhere, hey, look what you did.
So, breaking news, if you guys want 2 more, I can order them from Hasbro Pulse.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It says limit 2 per customer, though.
Do you have to be a member?
I get free shipping with Hasbro Pulse. But, so if you don't want to pay for shipping, just let me know.
Okay, cool. We'll talk.
Boom. Making deals. We're toy hunting. Live.
Wrapping up my thought earlier, the whole reason behind having the walkers on the floor is because that's where they existed when I was a kid.
Right.
Yeah. Or at least that's what I'm telling myself.
I like it. So if let's say in an alternate universe, in a non-budget confined place, how many of those ATTEs would it take to just be like an epic, cover the entire floor army? How many would you want?
I think 3 is a good number. I think depending on the size of your floor, 6 would be epic.
Right.
Yeah. That's just
also with the gunships
like
flying and the gunships loading them in.
Yeah. That's seriously like a phalanx of walkers that we're talking about right there.
I think 2020, by the end of 2020, I want a gunship.
Well, I think that's a pretty specific gunship, right? I mean, it's a pretty specific landing craft.
Yes.
It's not the same as the gunships that carries them in.
Yeah, I don't think they make that particular one in that scale. I could be wrong. Somebody out there tell me. But at some point this year, I want a gunship I have a space for it. I already decided right over here. Or I'm mounted on the wall. I haven't decided. But I want a gunship sometime this year. So.
Tell you what, I am going to mount on my wall is that Jedi Starfighter that you picked up for me.
Oh, good call.
I'm going to mount that on my wall, and in an ideal world, I will come up with an asteroid base. Ooh, dude, are you serious?
Got
is that 42nd?
I can order 3 of those from Hasbro Pulse. For some reason, you can get 3 of these troopers, and it's on like the retro card.
Love it.
Oh, that's cool.
Love it.
That's the 41st Elite Corps.
Love it.
That's worth thinking about. Let's talk about that later.
That's Buy Me Toys, which is buy all the toys.
Definitely Buy Me Toys.
Buy Me Toys live.
Let's talk coffee.
Let's talk coffee. Let's do it. Yeah. I had a question we were talking about before we went live, and I was talking about I've been absolutely loving this coffee that we went to a few months back when we actually were in person. We went to a place in Waxhaw, North Carolina called Fourth Corner Bakehouse. Fourth Corner Bakehouse, something like that. Bakehouse. Bakery and
Bakehouse and Coffee Company.
That's it. So I always remember Fourth Corner, and so in that place they roast their own. They have a place off, and they have their own blends and all this kind of stuff. And this coffee is flipping. I like it. Okay, and so I noticed it's from Ethiopia. It's from a specific place in Ethiopia called Sidama. And so I got that. And then I also tried this other coffee from Trade Coffee Company.
Yeah.
And it's like a subscription thing where you kind of, put in what you like and they send you something. It's almost like the old early or late 90s Netflix. It's like they just mail you something and like here's your trial thing, whatever. Except you don't ship it back when you're done. Don't ship it back.
Okay.
Here's your used coffee grinds. You can have them back now. But I got that and the coffee they sent me was also from the same place, Ethiopia and Sidama, and the blend it was a totally different blend, totally different aromatics, flavors, whatever. But it was really good. So I kind of after us going around all different spots in Charlotte, trying different roasts and different blends and whatever, I kind of landed that I kind of dig that particular location of coffee coffee
Source.
beans. Now, how they roast them, light, dark, medium, whatever, that kind of, I haven't nailed that quite down what I like it, but that particular region, it's on the money. It's way different than Folgers.
Definitely different than Folgers. looking at you, Mary. I I'm suffering, man. I ran out of my counterculture coffee about a week and a half ago.
That was good stuff too.
I have a little bit left of the rye roast, but my wife hates the smell of that stuff, so I can't make it. And so she has stepped out and purchased me some from, oh, what's it called?
Starbucks.
No, it's not Starbucks. Those guys are all closed. Yeah, there's another like Starbucks-like place around here. It exists in that park shopping center over by Blackhawk Hardware.
I don't remember the name of it, but I know what
we
you're
went
talking
there
about.
once.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went there once. But she got me a couple pounds from there, and it's just not the same, man. Plus, my scale is not working.
Is it not the same because it's not as fresh, or you just don't like the blend?
I think I just don't like the blend.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's just as fresh. I mean, I'm getting it out of the. I assume it. It's probably not as fresh because it's roasted locally when you get the stuff from. But who knows where it comes from when you're getting it from whatever that place is.
Right.
The Starbucks. The Starbucks.
The place with the bad coffee.
Yeah, the place with the bad coffee. Let's just call it that.
Yeah,
Coffee place.
I have determined.
Baked goods. Mary Catherine Hemstreet loves putting coffee in her baked goods. I like putting my baked goods in coffee. I like putting Oreos in coffee. I like putting Oreos in coffee. I like putting Oreos in coffee spiked with bourbon.
If you ever get a flat iron steak, right, like they use for fajitas,
yeah,
and you coat it in coffee, like grind it up, coat it in coffee, and grill it, good stuff.
Okay, that's a hot tip.
It's good. I'm just gonna tell you, it's good.
As soon as I fall off the vegetarian bandwagon, I'll try it.
You might be able to try it with like squash or something, but I doubt it's the same.
I don't think it'll be the same, dude.
I'll be squash.
But yeah, so we were talking about. I have a Ninja drip carafe machine. There's nothing special about it. It makes good coffee, but it's nothing special. And then we've been going to places and we've been getting the pour over stuff, and that's good too. And you jumped out, Terry, and got Chemex.
Chemex clone.
Well,
see what I did there.
5 points.
Mm-hmm.
You got this deal, so I'm curious to your thoughts on it versus a drip at home because I'm considering making the dive, but what are your thoughts?
Night and day. Night and day. I've had drip makers before. I've had French press, and I've had the Chemex clone. And I can't remember what it's called, but you can find it at Target. Just go to Target and do a search for coffee carafe, and it'll come up. But completely different. You have more control over a lot of the aspects of the creation of coffee. In addition, I recently introduced a scale, a digital scale to the whole setup. So I've turned it into chemistry, basically.
Boom, love it.
Yeah. Starting with I start out with the rest. Basically it's like 60 grams of coffee per liter of water. So typically what I usually wind up doing is 30 grams of ground coffee with 500 milliliters of water. And it yields what I find to be the ideal taste, the ideal flavor. Yeah. You can adjust it here and there, and I've got to adjust it with this new stuff that my wife got me. I tried something today. I wound up being really strong. So back to the old drawing board. Like I said, there's something off about my scale right now. It's just not measuring properly. I think maybe I just need to change the batteries in it. Hope that's it. But yeah, I can't recommend the whole notion of Chemex as far as like the manual pour over method. It's, to me, I guess pretty much any pour over would probably be similar. What's that other system called? The one that's like a little
the Hario V60.
Yeah, the V60. I've had V60 pour overs from coffee shops, and they're just as good. I would like to experiment with a Chemex though, with an actual Chemex with a paper filter, because the one that I got from Target has a stainless steel reusable filter.
Oh, yep, that definitely makes a difference.
Yes, it does, because you're getting the powdered grounds. Yep. They actually go through and into your coffee. So that adds a whole new element of bitterness to the flavor of it.
Yeah, that's a different animal. But you're still saying it's better, though.
It is better. It's better than French press, for instance, like I said. Because you're still, in French press, you're still getting those grounds.
It's an immersion.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's not so much it's like the infusion versus, which one is Chemex? Infusion or?
No, it's just no infusion versus an immersion. Yeah, like a French press would be an immersion.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Or like an AeroPress would be like that. But it's so I have, since we've been doing this show, since we've been doing JavaJawaJaw, I tell Kent, I have watched so many flipping videos on coffee on YouTube. It is insane. Like, it is crazy. And there's this one guy, if you guys like coffee, I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there. James Hoffman.
He's great.
Like, super genius in coffee.
Yeah, man. And plus, he has that great British accent, so he's easy to listen.
He's like he would be on the Death Star. He would be an Imperial. All right.
Yeah,
but
right.
he would make some really good coffee at the cafe on the Death Stars.
Yes,
he would, and he straight up looks like he belongs on the Death Star.
In fact, he's the guy that I got the whole 1 liter per 60 grams formula from.
I've probably seen that video. I've been watching him, but he does these reviews and stuff. And I'm gonna tell you what, he's good. So I've been watching him. He did the V60 deal, did the Chemex. He's got like all these fancy machines that cost $1,000. That I'm not going down that path. But a simple pour over, I'm interested in, and I think very soon I'm going to knock it out. But there is some benefit, and even he said this. There's some benefit to just hitting a button and go and do whatever you got to do. There's times and places for a pour over versus a carafe drip.
Yeah. When you're just looking for the fix, when you just need the coffee, and you're in a rush to get out the door, just throw it in and hit the button and go. That makes sense. Damn it! Now you got me wanting to spend money on an actual Mr. Coffee.
The Ninja, I have the Ninja one. It's really good. Like, I've had other ones, and it's good. Of course, and you have to have the right. Blenders. You got to have the right filters. You got the right paper filter. The right, they talks about that. How the paper can influence the flavor of the coffee and bitterness and that kind of stuff. So, anyway, so we're talking about coffee because it's JavaJawaJaw, and it's not only Clone Wars or Mandalorian chat. We're talking about coffee. So,
coffee.
I will tell you the best part of the whole show, honestly, and you guys out there in YouTube land may not get this. But the biggest part, the best part about this is us being able to get together at a coffee shop and chat Star Wars or whatever we want to during the week, and just kind of chill out and nerd out for a few minutes before the show. Because we did that. We spend 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, or whatever, talking about the show before the show.
Yeah, it's legitimately the part that I enjoyed the most about us getting together.
So it's we're missing that, and hopefully in the next few weeks or month or so, I don't know, whenever we can get back there, I'll be greatly missing that. So Skype is great for getting content out, but it's not quite the same for us, and it's probably not the same for you. So. Yeah. But at least here we're live. We can answer questions you guys might have.
That's right.
In fact, I feel like our interaction is quite a bit different. Without being in the same room as each other, I feel like it's more natural, and I think we jive quite a bit better when we're with each other than we do when we're apart. So.
True story. That's because Kent's always hugging us.
Yeah. He just hugs you. He grabs my ass.
I had better coffee.
I don't want to jump off Buy Me Toys too far with that because Kent was just talking about stuff. But straight up, he got me the Knight of Ren.
Oh. Yeah.
And Commander Bly.
In stores now.
I saw that you posted that to our Facebook chat, and I was tempted by that Knight of Ren. I really, really was, but my concern is that they're not going to make them all.
I doubt they'll make them all, but it's fine.
Yeah. If they were going to make them all, then that would be something that I would consider.
They'll make them all. It's just going to be like 5 years.
This is the guy I was hyped for. This guy looks great. So. Bly.
He really does.
So
that's one of the better clone designs in my opinion.
Yeah, I remember I had the Sideshow 6-scale version of him, and I really liked him. I love the visor coming down. The weathering they had on that one was great. The colors were great. It was just a really cool figure. And the comma, and it's just a really cool figure. The one thing I always thought was funny about the clones is this giant, just ridiculous blaster rifle they had that was taller than they were.
What was it called? The DC-10 or something like
that? Is it 10 or 15?
15. DC-15. DC-10 is an airplane. DC-15 is a blaster.
Yeah, and it was it's just because on the 6-scale figure it's huge. Yeah. And I'm just going, that is so, like, who would want to carry that around in battle? Ever. That's crazy.
That's your heavy gun, man. I mean, that's supposed to be, but I haven't seen any evidence in any of the shows that it does any more damage than the standard, carbine.
Or Rex's pistols. I mean, like, he just fine with some blaster pistols.
In fact, that's an interesting topic. The first time in Star Wars, can you think of the first time in Star Wars where we saw evidence that one gun did more damage than another? It was when they called out Chewie's bowcaster in Force Awakens.
Right.
Because I'm even thinking of the rail gun, the rail blasters that the clones used, and even they seemed like they just shot faster. I mean, that's pretty much it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Knight of Ren says that SH Figure Arts is making all the Knights of Ren.
Well, SH Figure Arts will charge you $80 a piece.
Yep. That's two or three Hot Toys.
And yours truly is not jumping down that rabbit hole. So
I do love me some SH Figure Arts. In fact, don't I have right here?
Lie. Got that.
Making stuff to look tough. So here's my little.
Oh, I got a Django.
Yeah.
I like Figure Arts. They're a little smaller than these guys.
Yeah, they're definitely not to scale with Black Series, which is too bad. But and I think somewhere around here, I used to have some battle droids.
Oh, those would be fun.
Nice.
Yeah, I straight up had every intention of doing a recreation of the of Geonosis, because I had 3 Geonosian battle droids and I had Mace Windu. And I may have donated those. I may have donated them all when we moved.
I was under
a lot of pressure to donate things.
I think it'd be hard pressed to beat value for the dollar the Hasbro battle droids.
Oh yeah, those are great.
For $20, these are pretty much bang for the buck. I think fantastic. So,
Greg Cook is going to make a DC-15.
Yeah.
Oh God, no shit, Greg. All right, get down with your bad self, Greg.
He's hooking it up, man. He ain't playing around.
Greg don't play around.
No. Let's see what we got in the chat.
I don't know where that guy finds all the time, man. I mean, he's got the discipline. It's like he was a Marine or something.
Right.
Right. SH Figure Arts making all the Knights Ren. Let's see. I think they will do the other 5 Knights Ren in the next couple of years, like the Rebels. Yeah, you're probably right. It'll be like Zeb we're getting with Rebels. They'll get them 4 years later.
That's fine. I like playing the long game. So do you.
Right.
Yeah, I don't care.
Kent doesn't. He likes it all right now.
I'll still find them.
Yeah, thanks, man. We appreciate you.
I very much do.
It's good to have you in our corner, dude.
Right. Yeah, I had SH Figure Arts Spider-Man figure, Homecoming Spidey, and I had Captain Marvel, and I had Thanos from Infinity War. I had all those figures. And construction-wise, great figures. Scale for me was a little small. And that's really the reason I got rid of them. So, and they were really thin. Like, you think Ahsoka's arms are super thin here, but the SH Figure Arts are like toothpicks. So,
but they're strong.
They are strong, and the range of motion and the joints and everything they're good.
Mm-hmm.
They're good. Mm-hmm. But this guy just looks flipping badass. Just saying.
Yeah, like I said, man, I love that armor. I love that look.
Greg is crafty who's making helmets and guns out of foam. No joke. That's true. Over the course of 20 years, Hasbro will make the Knights of Ren. I feel like
no lie.
I feel like we're talking about
toys a lot.
We should talk about Clone Wars maybe for a second.
Let me just bring this up here first, though.
Whoa.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I've been playing with that. I dug this guy from the top. I pulled him down from the top shelf because I ran out of room.
He was hiding in the shadows.
Once Old Man Luke came in,
right?
I needed room on the top shelf for him, so I pulled him down. Now I'm resisting the urge to put him away. So
I had to repose my Old Man Luke.
Yeah.
It was just time. I had him hugging on Leia for too long. I was like, well, that's getting sad.
If you guys haven't watched a video of a new display of how he's redone his display, you should check it out. It's really worth looking at.
Thank you.
Definitely.
It's sad.
Kent, it is official. You are the best toy hunter ever.
Oh wow! 5 points to Kent.
David
I can't wait to get my award.
So that's good enough for me, man.
I mean, that seems pretty legit to me.
I think so.
I'd like a placard that I can hang up on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
How about would you settle for a text message?
Maybe a GIF.
You can
graphic.
screenshot it.
Yeah.
Hey, now you grabbed Malgus off the upper shelf. Are you going to do some photos of him, or you just said he was in the way?
He was in the way. But the reason I haven't put him away is because I'm thinking about doing some photos of him. I just did a photo of this guy, which is not Star Wars.
I did see that on Facebook there, or Instagram, one of the two.
That's Star Ace's answer to Pops. It's their Defo Real line, where they go for more of a realistic take on the character.
Is he from the first Ghostbusters movie?
And he comes with a little tiny Gandalf with a big head.
Yeah, you should.
It's a trip, man. It's a trip. I love it.
I'm messing with you. I have a question. We'll kind of talk about toys for a minute. Kent, let me ask you this, because I have this same dilemma thing when I had this building of this nonsense behind me. How often, Kent, because you got all those figures behind you, how often do you go back to like a figure you bought 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever it was, older wave? How often do you go back and you just kind of enjoy the figure again? I know how often you're getting the new stuff because it's all the time. But do you go back and enjoy older stuff?
I think if I did an updated video of the collection, you could probably pick out some of the older stuff that's just kind of its placement and where it's at. Like I always tell people about my future Foundation Spider-Man, and he's usually in the center of everything that's going on. So you can tell what pieces kind of lead the way and how much they're enjoyed.
Very cool. I got I had this dilemma because I was trying to mix scales and product lines, all the stuff in the display behind me, which I have the lights off for a reason. But it was very difficult to not try and put everything on the shelf. I had to pick and choose, and I had to pick stuff. And so what I was doing with that is I was actually finding older figures that I had a lot of fun messing around with. And I found myself, instead of actually building the stupid thing, I found myself just like posing figures and just having fun. For example, one guy who let me go grab him. Hey, he's all over. This guy who I actually did a photo of last week or whatever, but I hadn't spent a whole lot of time with him.
Yeah.
But I had some fun. I guess he's relevant to tonight's episode, I think.
Yes, he is.
But I had a lot of fun messing around with this guy, and I totally forgot that the fabric down here has wires in it.
Yeah.
And I just liked it. And then, of course, I got stabbed by his horns that are stupid sharp.
That will happen.
But
very, very sharp.
I enjoyed posing this guy, and I literally just sat here for just an hour just messing around, listening to music, just enjoying the figure that I've had forever. I've never, ever made a video on this guy. Ever. I just enjoyed it. So, Terry, you brought up...
Counting today, I have 5 days off of work, and I've been watching you do what you're doing there, and I'm thinking, I'm gonna have to do something similar.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna make as many videos of it, but I'm gonna take some time. I'm gonna put some soothing music on the background, and I'm just going to play with my action figures.
Have a beverage and
and
play with your toys.
My wife and I are going to the liquor store tomorrow. Hashtag that's not social distancing.
Do you have a now? Somebody asked me this on a YouTube comment or Instagram, something on the video I released today, and or I think they direct messaged me on Instagram was, and the question was, where did you get your motivation or inspiration for this? The walls, displays, shelves, all this kind of mess. And I straight up, I haven't answered back because I'm going to save it for tonight, but I don't have one.
Yeah, I don't sense that you have any inspiration at all. I think that you just have a knack for for if you'll indulge me and let me point out an observation that I've had
Sure.
concerning your display. But you better than anybody else know your surroundings there, know your room is, the dimensions, and you sit there and look at it a lot. So when you're thinking about what you want and you're thinking about where you want to put it, I think you just go out and explore what your options are, and you can buy. I don't even know if you have a list of it, but I feel like you have a mental compilation of things that you see, and you recognize which has better qualities over the other, which thing has better qualities over the other. And then when you hit on something, when you stumble across, say, a Hallmark store that's going out of business, and you just say, okay, you see those $20 a pop display cases,
Right.
You're just like, yeah, that's what I need right there. I can make that work. Not only that, but you just seem to have a knack for knowing how to light it. You've probably seen other people use LEDs to great effect before. I mean, it's pretty prevalent in YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
so
nothing. I'm not recreating the wheel at all. Like
No.
at all. So.
You're just doing it in a way that's uniquely perfect for your own environment, and that's
the key. Is your own environment. That's the 100% the key.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I was in a different room, different layout, then it would be like I've already got. I want to take another bedroom. I've told you guys this. I want to take another bedroom and make the YouTube studio that room, and literally just like this be my man cave, and let that be the studio. Because I have another whole wall you guys never see that literally I would love to put stuff on.
Yeah.
But I can't.
Yeah,
I got all this
see.
stuff.
And just let that be your sanctum sanctorum, so to speak. And
Yeah, I would love to do that. So Kent, he's got his wall of figures there. Before Kent, you had the bookshelves, I think, that were there. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, the Kias.
The bookshelves, and you were armed. I mean, you had it. It didn't look as awesome as it does right now, because it looks freaking brilliant. But you had a pile of stuff in there too, and it really depends on your space and depends on whatever you like. And so and a lot of it's trial and error. Now I bought. You guys may not know this, but I bought 2 sets of Vesta cabinets, like the 3 tall ones, the tall ones.
Yep.
I got those. Originally, I was going to have a wall of those, and then when I got them, I didn't like them.
Yeah.
So I will be probably just selling those and getting them out of here because I really don't use them for anything. But sometimes you just got to trial and error, and sometimes stuff works, sometimes it doesn't. So, but enough said about that. Let's talk about Clone Wars.
Clone Wars.
Okay, talk about it. Yeah. Clone Wars. So this episode was more I don't say entertaining, more action.
Yes.
Action.
Yeah. If action is your jam, then this was the Clone Wars Ahsoka Tano episode for you. For now.
Right.
For now. We don't know what's coming. Actually, I think we all know what's coming. We just don't know how much of it is coming.
We're gonna hope that it's amazing. So,
I don't think it's gonna go out with a whimper, guys. I think we can fully expect that this is gonna be some really, really strong stuff.
Yeah.
If tonight's episode was any indication, I mean, they were not shy about leading you. Like, they didn't wait until next episode to lead you into what's coming to the next story. I mean, they've been building up to this for the past 2 episodes, at the very least. Has it 3 episodes? When did we first see the Mandalorians?
Yeah, the last 2.
The last 2, yeah.
Last 2? Okay, cool.
Yeah. Super excited about this. The Mandalorians and well, Kent said it earlier. I was talking to him, and or maybe it was yesterday. Well, when did we meet up, Kent? Was it yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday.
We were talking about the way the episode, the awkward part about the last few episodes is where they chose to break the story. It was an awkward break.
Yeah.
And so that's what made it kind of feel disjointed and like, why are we, like they didn't even leave it on a cliffhanger. It's just like, okay, we're done now. We're gonna move. We'll come back next week. This one felt like it was a legit cliffhanger. We know where we're headed. We know where we're going. Whereas the previous episodes, we just had no idea.
It feels like the first 4 episodes that we saw were the only clone-based episodes that we're going to get. I know we're going to see some clones in the next 4 episodes. We get that because they're featuring the artwork for them pretty prominently. But the fact is that these final 8 are definitely Ahsoka Tano episodes. They're not being shy about that, nor should they be. building on what you were talking about, I think as far as like the awkward cuts between episodes, there is a precedent for that, and it just occurred to me as you were describing it. But it's that 4-episode story arc with Colonel Gascon. It was Colonel Gascon, right? The little tiny guy that was put in charge of D Squad.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
R2 and all the other R2 units that had to go on that mission and the pit droid as well that had to go on that mission. It was a really surreal experience.
Right.
That, it just felt like every
arc.
Yeah, there was a really crazy cut, and then they started in a place that was entirely just off the wall, separate from where we left off. It was a really strange story arc, and that's kind of similar as far as the editing is concerned between the story arcs is concerned. It just seemed. You know who else is guilty of that? Is Doctor Who.
Never seen it.
Which you don't watch. But
I don't know who the Doctor is.
Doctor Who, the TV show Doctor Who, every episode of it feels like it was edited to run as a solid episode with no commercial breaks. So when you're watching it with commercial breaks, you'll get these abrupt interruptions. Like in the middle of action, they'll just go to a commercial break and they come back right where they left off. It's so bizarre, and also explains why I stopped watching it on TV and just started buying it on iTunes, which increased my enjoyment of viewing it immensely. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah. That's one of the things we were talking about was that awkward break. But I felt like this episode led us somewhere where I'm going, all right, now I'm ready. I'm ready for next Friday. Like, is it Friday yet? That's where I'm at. I know it's Sunday, but I'm already, just based on the last 2 minutes of that show, I'm going, is it Friday?
What about you, Ken? You stoked?
Yeah, I definitely looking forward to Friday's episode. We know that that guy with the horns is causing some issues. Now, my big question, and Terry, you'll have to let me know, did you get through the episodes chronologically?
I did.
So here is my struggle right now.
This is good.
When did the episode take place with Sidious fighting Maul and Vaj?
With Maul and Savage?
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
when did that take place?
Maul's set up as the he just took over Mandalore, set up his puppet prime minister.
Okay.
Sidious shows up right then.
Woman.
Yes.
So
that's accurate. And so what's the question?
Where are we at in the timeline?
I'm trying to figure out when did that happen, because has Maul escaped Sidious and got back to Mandalore?
Okay, all right, I see what you mean.
Because at the end of that episode, Maul's defeated and Palpatine takes him off to wherever.
Okay, so this is the story arc that was covered in. This was going to be in season 6.
They
were going to cover this in season 6, but instead what they did was they covered it in a comic book series called Darth Maul, Son of Dathomir.
Correct.
And they it winds up telling you the story of how he escapes Palpatine's custody and gets back to the. And I think he kind of. It's been ages since I read it, so please be understanding with me if I get some of these details wrong. But I think what winds up happening is he goes back to his crime syndicate and has to regain control of them. I don't think it takes much. I think it's pretty easy for him to do so, but as I recall. But yeah, that's pretty much the long and the short of it.
Okay. See, I haven't read that series, so that probably.
No, I've got it here. I've got it here somewhere. If you guys want to borrow it, or we can feature it a little bit.
Just do me a favor, since we're doing social. Just text me each page.
I'll do that. Yeah. Why don't I do that?
I got a better yet. We'll get on we'll go on Skype and just point your phone down, and as you're reading it, we'll read along with you.
Nice.
There's probably some copyright problems in there or something, but we won't broadcast it. But just saying.
So yeah, I was just trying to figure out that timeline because I was telling Ryan that's one of those arcs where I feel like it happened very fast. here's Maul. He's taken over Mandalore. Obi-Wan's there, like, out of nowhere. Then, spoilers, Obi-Wan's girl gets killed, and next thing you know, like, Obi-Wan's, like, off planet, and then Sidious, like, shows up, and it's just, like, a crazy, little time.
You have to admire that. You're right. You have to admire the skill involved with maintaining that sort of a timeline between, because you're dealing with, okay, what came before Clone Wars, what came after Clone Wars, and now we're getting to the point where we're gonna have to be dealing with what happened during the Clone Wars and is occurring simultaneously in Revenge of the Sith.
Right.
Yeah, so they have to concern themselves with that, and I feel like they've managed to keep a tight lid on the whole thing. I don't think anything's, hats off to Filoni. I mean, I would love. We've talked about this in other episodes of JavaJawaJaw about my concern that it's going to become just as the Disney Star Wars is going to become just as derailed as the EU Star Wars did in my mind. Where things don't really follow each other. You don't have really a tight grip on the continuity. And that's really what it's going to all be about. You need to have a decisive, cohesive vision of where this story is going to go. And if you're going to go off on tangents, and if those tangents are ever going to intersect again with the main canon, it's a very delicate bit of maneuvering. And if it's not done properly, then the whole thing can just cascade.
True story.
So Filoni has thus far shown an almost unparalleled ability to keep that structure intact. And
yeah, I think we're going to see him at the helm in the not too distant future.
I hope so. I was on Team Kennedy for a long, long time, and I'm really starting to lose faith. I really would like to see what Filoni's capable of at this point.
Yeah, he clearly has the chops to do it.
He has the chops, and he has the trust of Lucas.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know whose call it was to put Kathleen Kennedy in charge. She's got a long and distinguished track record as an executive for Lucas and whatnot, and I get that, and I like a lot of what she did, and I think a lot of the decisions that are being placed on her head are, in point of fact, I think they fall at the feet of Disney, the corporation, more than they do on Kathleen Kennedy, and I think she's bearing the brunt of it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So it's not a lot of what's happening isn't fair, isn't justified, but.
Right. Well, what people don't realize is everybody has a boss.
Exactly.
Everybody.
Yeah.
The emperor.
And at the end of the day, the boss ends up being the U.S. dollar. And that's what it's about. So as much as we love our stories and we love our canon and we love our characters and all that, at the end of the day, they're in it to make money. And if something's going to – that's essentially where it's going to go. So
I'd like to point out that
we're talking about since Disney owned it, it's –
yeah,
money.
I'd like to point out that somebody just made the comment that Disney Star Wars is already derailed. Not true. They held it together, but by the skin of their teeth, and it could very, very well have gone the other way. I don't necessarily agree with where Rise of Skywalker went, for instance, but you can make the argument that everything held together. Nothing is derailed at this point.
No, I mean they gave us Rogue One.
Yeah.
They gave us the sequel trilogy because it didn't exist. They gave us, obviously we're getting Clone Wars again, but that's the thing. I mean, there's just so many characters that wouldn't even been around. So
Gave us Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
Rebels, Rebels was the first thing, right? It's they're giving us all a pile of awesome toys to play with.
There's so much awesome stuff that has come out of Disney Star Wars, and I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah.
Mary Catherine Hemstreet makes another comment. Disney has to let go just a bit. I agree with that completely. Executives need to give up the idea that they're filmmakers. They're not artists. They're businessmen, right. And I get that. And they've got strengths. They have a purpose, and they need to stay in their lane. And they need to put somebody in charge who has vision. That's what Disney is lacking at this point. They're lacking a George Lucas figurehead.
I'm voting for us three to lead the charge.
Hey man, a triumvirate worked well at the end of Ready Player One.
Yeah, give me a call.
I'll tell you right now, I would run it to the ground. I'm not even going to try because I'd get the timelines all mixed up, and she's like, "Oh crap, what?" So I
All
like
you
to be a
need
part of it, but
all you need to do is need to do the same thing that George R.R. Martin does, and just have a core group of fans on the other end of your Skype, and just hey man, I'm thinking about doing something with this character. What do you think? Oh no, man, you killed him 2 books back. Oh thanks.
yeah, like well, I know you chopped him in half, but we'll give him some robot legs. He's good now. So,
He's back.
oh, that would be so awesome. I don't know. I don't even know. They just make the. I'll be the one over there just saying make the toys. Just make the toys. Just go. And bring back my Hasbro
somebody
vehicles.
dropped some keywords in a comment here that I can't let go. Just got done watching the next episode of Clone Wars. It has been very mediocre lately. First 3 episodes were great, but I feel like the last 4 have been filler episodes. I feel like mediocre is a really unfair way to describe it. I also feel like filler episode is a catch-all to describe what somebody just didn't feel as was an episode that resonated with them. I don't think that you can argue with the fact that these 4 episodes, while maybe not resonating with everybody, have been strong character development episodes for Ahsoka Tano, and also very, very necessary for her journey. You can't just go from her being a Jedi Knight, a full-fledged Jedi Knight, to undergoing what she had to go through with her trial and everything, and to where she is in Rebels. Not even where she's going to be in the Mandalorian episodes that are coming up. You had to have some sort of a segue.
Yep. And
while technically I guess you could call that filler episodes, it goes a long way towards explaining how she got from point A to point B in this group of this final season of the Clone Wars.
True
so let's not sell it short.
Watch
we got some
any
good
film.
stuff here. Find value.
Yeah. Terry's on the money, man. There's a difference between not enjoying something as much as 4 episodes. You didn't enjoy the story arc as much as you enjoyed the other story arc. That's fine. That's how you like things. That's fine.
That's aesthetics. You can't argue aesthetics.
But it doesn't mean that it's necessarily bad.
Yes. Yeah. You can't dismiss it. Just because you didn't find value in it personally doesn't mean that value within that story arc doesn't exist.
Right.
And see it. I'd say the biggest take is, how the Jedi are being viewed, and for Ahsoka to see that there's people out there to the point that she's starting to care about these people, and they have these views of the Jedi and, some similar ideas that led her away. So, yeah, it's been some great character development.
Yeah. Yeah,
true story.
I think it's important. I come from a pretty small community, and I saw the world a very specific way when I lived in that town, little coal town in central Illinois. After moving around and having different experiences with different people, traveling, getting to know people from different cultures and whatnot, I have a completely different take on the world at large than I did when I was confined to that community. Now, I'm not panning small town living. If I had to go back and live in that small town right now, I totally would, and I'd be fine with it. But I have a completely different view of the world outside of that small town than I did at the time. I think that's what we're talking about here. Ahsoka's existence, she lived in a bubble created by her existence within the Jedi Order, and now she is existing outside of that bubble. Or maybe the bubble's getting bigger and then bigger with every subsequent adventure. I put down, is this a good time to bring this up? I feel like I'm talking a lot this episode, but I put down as for the thumbnail for this, I put down the 12 labors of Ahsoka.
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
And I just something occurred to me while I was watching this episode again today. I started thinking about this part of Ahsoka's journey, this task that she had to perform, this next layer of her development, of her particular onion, so to speak. And it made me think of all the story arcs that were particular to her, like landing at Point Rain and all that stuff that went down on Geonosis. Like her experience with that, I can't remember his name, but the elder Jedi who helped her find her lightsaber. Mm-hmm. But all those different, like when she got captured with the younglings by the Trandoshans, all those different stories just contributed to her development just as much as this does. And then it leads to what happens in the next 4 episodes with the Mandalorians, and that leads to what happens with her experience as Fulcrum. And then that leads to what experience with confronting Vader, with confronting her master again. before she has to go off and try to find Ezra Bridger, which we still haven't seen yet. Come on,
Right.
Filoni, do me some justice here. And now it looks like we're going to see her in The Mandalorian. So we're seeing all these different, we'll call them, the labors of Ahsoka Tano, for lack of a better word, because just for the sake of metaphor. But one of the things that I'm comparing them to is the 12 labors of Hercules. The 12 labors of Hercules are the tasks that Hercules had to perform in order to ascend to Olympus. That was his path to godhood. Ahsoka Tano was denied the trials of the Jedi that would have led her to becoming a fully fledged Jedi Knight. She didn't get those because she had left the Jedi Order. Yep. So to become what she has to become, she has to perform tasks and grow as a person and grow as a Jedi, Force user in her own right. So that's just something that occurred to me today. I haven't developed it fully in my head, but it's something I'm thinking about.
Well, I expect a 3-page paper tomorrow. You got time. You said you had 5 days
another
off.
all-nighter.
Essay.
He said you had 5 days off. So I think
I
that's
do have 5 days
that's
off.
a pretty good.
Plenty
pretty
of time
good
to develop that.
Yeah. And this episode here, now this was interesting because in this particular episode, Ahsoka sacrifices herself for the sisters, essentially.
Yeah.
She had a plan. That sounds a lot like Anakin. I have a plan, What's the plan? I don't know.
She learned well.
That's Anakin. And so she goes out. She gets exposed as a Jedi. But then she kept toying around with like she's not a Jedi. She said that I'm not a Jedi. I'm no longer. I left the Jedi. I'm not a Jedi. And as far as Trace and Rafa are concerned, they're like, how can you leave? How can you not be a Jedi? You are.
You can do that. Yeah.
You either are or you are not. And it's not something you leave, because I don't know of any other people other than the Jedi who turned on turned Sith.
Dooku.
You haven't really seen any other people just I'm out. Peace.
Yeah, you've seen people come close. Quinlan Voss comes to mind. He kind of exists as kind of like an outlaw Jedi. He's still a member of the Order, but he definitely flirts with going off and doing his own thing. He definitely has his own path when it comes to being a Jedi.
Yep.
But yeah, you're right. We don't really see a whole lot of people who've left the Order. And by and large, they all go dark.
Yep. And if anybody was going to leave the Order, it should have been Kenobi with Satine. In my opinion.
Right.
But he was. Yeah, it was never going to happen because it was. You have the original trilogy. It wasn't never going to happen. But if the original, if Clone Wars came first, then I could totally see Kenobi saying, "Yeah, I'm out of here. I'm gonna live
for
on
a little
now."
while.
Yeah.
Because he was definitely.
Can you imagine what that would have been like, though? Imagine Mandalore with the Duchess Satine and her consort, Obi-Wan Kenobi, former Jedi Knight.
As wise as he was, and negotiating as he was.
Yeah, he would have been pretty shrewd, and he would have been. There's no, as far as I know, there's no requirement that you cut yourself off from the Force.
No, you don't have to
clear.
cut yourself from the Force. You just wouldn't be in the council and the rules and all that kind of stuff. Because you can't say, it's not like, well, you have to say this, take an oath and now you have access to use the Force. That's not how it works. So, you've been cut off. We're going to turn off your pager now, and you can't use the Force anymore. Like we changed his email password. He no longer has the Force. So
I think what comes to mind when I think about this. Did you guys ever watch Sons of Anarchy?
No.
No. Okay.
I've been told, but no.
Yeah. There was a episode of Sons of Anarchy where they stumble upon this dude who used to be a member of the Sons of Anarchy, and he takes off his shirt, and they see him take off his shirt, and he still has the Sons of Anarchy tattoo on his back.
Right.
And it's pretty hardcore. They apparently they make it mandatory that you have the tattoo removed if you ever leave the gang.
Oh, nice.
And he didn't do that. So his punishment, they go to him. They say knife or fire. And you have to make a choice of knife or fire. And it's legitimately like they either flay it off your back with a knife or they torch it off your back with a blowtorch.
Wow.
So that's what comes to my mind when I think of what would the ramifications be of somebody leaving the Jedi Order.
That seems
Now,
kind
obviously,
of.
obviously that would be something more Sith-like.
That reminds me of the John Wick when they branded him for using his pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. You are no longer a child or whatever they said.
Yeah.
Ahsoka likely represents the richest opportunity in terms of character development and storytelling we currently have in Star Wars. It's got a pretty good story arc. So in this particular episode, we saw some other characters. Did you guys see any more of the vintage Kenner toy characters in the show?
You know what? To be honest, I didn't even look.
Yeah. So they had the what was it? The guy, the blue and the green and orange guy.
Walrus Man.
Yeah, he was like in the background, and then we also had the little guy from the planet who was actually the pod racer from Phantom Menace.
Oh, did we really?
Yeah, he remember in the one of the pod racers in Phantom Menace, the guy who he flew off and crashed.
Oh yeah, he made that noise when he crashed.
It was the same guy as the little fella with the spice.
Yeah,
Same
they also the R2 and the Wolfpack visited their planet with R2 and 3PO in season 4, I think it was.
And then we got a Trandoshan.
Trandoshan, yeah.
Who was should have handily took care of Rafa, but got his butt kicked. As strong as those guys are, I don't know why she won that fight, but she
surprised him.
She was a scrapper, man. She was good.
Yeah,
she was good. They
had
a good little fight.
It makes sense that they would be tough, especially Rafa. You know,
she had to be with that lifestyle. Yeah.
Yeah, they're living on level 1313.
Exactly.
A level that was so badass that Disney wouldn't allow it to become a video game.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was some pretty cool stuff in there, but they figure out that Ahsoka's a Jedi, and it was a good fitting story. But as Ahsoka's out there, trying to rescue everybody, she's out there figuring out that Mr. Maul is still around. So that was interesting. That was cool.
I'm surprised we haven't brought that up yet.
Yeah, well, here we are.
Darth Maul sitting right there on your table, and we're just like, talking about Ahsoka.
Last week Ahsoka's awesome, but Maul is sitting there literally threatening.
That'll listen.
Yeah, just threatening everybody, which is pretty cool. So, Kent, you want to talk about that a minute?
Well, I thought I would surprise everybody first with tonight's Under the Helmet.
Ooh.
Damn right.
So our Mandalorians, they were running a little scan under their helmet, and they had the ability to tell that Ahsoka was not with the other two when they were headed off planet. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that's just like a particular scan where they kind of had like Ahsoka's readouts already in their helmet, or if they could tell, just the difference in like the size and the proportions and stuff. But there was something going on under the helmet, and they knew that Ahsoka wasn't headed off world.
Boom, there you go. And then one of those people under the helmet was
Sabine Wren. Oh, sorry.
Ursa.
Sabine Wren's mother.
Yeah. Sabine Wren's mother, Ursa Wren. So I didn't even care. It's funny. Terry sent me sent a screenshot. Sent a screenshot to our chat group, and I'm like, I don't know who this actor is, and I'm totally missed it. It said Ursa Wren to the side. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes total sense. So Sabine's mother is in this little crowd of people. So with Bo-Katan. So, but they're no longer part of Death Watch. They have left Death Watch.
No more Death Watch, apparently.
Ooh, go on.
And go ahead. Where do you want to
go? I just wanted to bring up something Mandalorian related.
Ooh, okay. Dun-dun.
Because remember we talked about the Mandalorians who showed up and saved the main character. God, what's his name? Din Djarin. The Mandalorians who showed up and saved young Din Djarin in that notorious episode, or with the big flashback, and how they were wearing the same armor as Death Watch, and so we were just like, oh my God, it was Death Watch that saved Din Djarin. Not the case. By this time, Din Djarin's already gone. I'm sorry. Death Watch is already gone, right?
Well,
So
I
it's
think
it's these same Mandalorians.
I think the armor markings on the one that rescued Din Djarin actually had the Death Watch symbol on them. But
Did they?
yeah, but the ones in Ursa Wren and Bo-Katan are wearing there no longer have the Death Watch emblem.
Okay.
They have something else, and because I was curious about that too, because when she said, I went back and looked at it, and they definitely had the Death Watch markings.
Okay.
And she might have just implied that they're not Death Watch anymore because that's
Yes.
how Ahsoka was familiar with them.
Right. Yeah, I think they're Ursa and Bo-Katan and all that. I think Death Watch probably still exists on Mandalore as Maul's doing his thing. They're probably still there with, well, obviously Pre Vizsla's not there, but somewhere he's there in pieces. But I think there's still some of that going on there. Because I don't think Maul is just waiting on the puppet prime minister to lead everything. I'm sure he's got some people there, so doing his thing. But yeah, it was interesting. They had another marking on there, and I can't remember where the heck I wrote
The
it
sign
down
of the
Friday.
Death Watch was the symbol of Clan Vizsla, which was designed after stylized Jaguar in mid-dive, colored red. By the Clone Wars and after, however, the symbol's color had been changed to blue.
Mm-hmm. Yup.
I love having a wealth of knowledge at my fingertips.
I don't have it here. Shoot, I had a Death Watch pop around here somewhere. But so many possibilities with the Mandalorian series. Do you think tribes of Wookiees being Jedis can be introduced? Wow, that was out of left field.
Tribes of Wookiees?
Maybe.
That was
Well, there's definitely precedent for Wookiee Jedi. We saw one as a Padawan in an earlier episode of the Clone Wars.
Yep, and Rebels.
Right.
Or Clone, yeah, it was Clone Wars. Yeah, that's right.
Clone Wars.
Yeah. When they went and got their stones, their kyber crystals. Yeah.
I want to say in Legends there were also examples of Wookiee Jedi. They seem like a natural fit, given the fact that they're more in touch with nature than a lot of other people, so to speak, the natural world. They might be more of a fit for to be in touch with the Force as well. You could make that argument.
And they live a long time.
Entire tribes of Jedi, I find that unlikely. Yeah, that doesn't really fall under the now. Maybe entire tribes that were Force sensitive, but the Jedi is like Mandalorian after the Purge. It's a creed.
Yep.
It's not a race, or it has nothing to do with your abilities with the Force. We're finding that out more and more in the past few years.
Yep. So in this, with Ahsoka towards the end of this, and she's seeing Maul interact and threatening the Spice Runners.
Very, very Solo-like.
It was a lot. It was a lot like that. And then she meets up. She goes back to Coruscant, and then Ursa. Actually, I don't think we ever see Ursa's face. We just see Bo-Katan's face. I think it's the only one we see talking to her.
Correct.
She says, "We need you. Come with us." And that leads us off. So the question I've got for you guys, and a lot the chat out there as well, is where do you think we're headed? What's next?
Mandalore.
I haven't seen any of the previous old animatics or whatever, so I don't know. But
so now I don't know that these coming episodes existed as animatics, did they?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Let's put it this way: where would you like it to go? I'm
trying not to have any expectations, because I think that people having expectations, people predicting what the story arc is going to be, is what leads indirectly to a certain, or directly actually, to a certain element of toxic fandom. When you have expectations, like to that extent, it almost becomes like this demand. It can't. There's almost this cognitive dissonance that happens when you think that something's going to happen and then it happens another way. You can't deal with it.
Okay.
And that's when you start saying, well, that sucks. That's not the way it should have gone. Well, you don't get to say that. That's not
because you made it up in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, all right. That's fair. That's fair. I'm gonna throw this out there though. I'm hoping to we head back to Mandalore. That's what I'm hoping. So
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
I will at least throw a planet out there. So
I think
go back
think
to
it's
Mandalore because I think it's the obvious place to go. Maul's on we don't know this, but I think Maul's on Mandalore. We know that the siege of Mandalore's got to happen sometime. And we have Mandalorians, so I'm going to say we're going to Mandalore. I don't think that's a giant leap.
Nope, far from it.
We're probably not going to Tatooine.
A better question would be, we're about to know we know now that Ahsoka Tano has met Sabine Wren's mother long before she met Sabine.
A true story. Yeah, that's a good call.
And yet we don't hear about it during Rebels. It's never mentioned during Rebels, and I'm wondering why not.
We'll see how it plays out.
I'm going to say because when they wrote Rebels, they didn't plan on her meeting her mother.
It's possible that we don't see her anymore after this.
Yeah, that could be interesting. Are you thinking we're going to see Sabine somewhere, even as a younger?
We might see a young Sabine.
That would be cool.
Yeah, wouldn't it?
Well, out there doing like graffiti on the wall or something.
Actually, this might predate Sabine. Sabine was pretty young.
Yeah, she would be pretty young.
She would have to be like almost an infant, if a toddler at most.
Yeah, but say because Rebels, she was like what, early 20s maybe?
At the oldest, I want to say probably late teens because Ezra was like 15 or 16.
And if she was at the Imperial Academy, she would have been young during those years.
That's true. She did infiltrate the academy and pass off as a young person. So we might not see Sabine. But if we don't see Sabine here, then Ursa has to live because you have to have.
Oh yeah,
you have to have
she's in for Rebels.
Okay, all right. I got one more thing. This guy keeps dropping things that make me need to answer. I think they need to listen. I think they need to listen to the fandom. The demands to listen to the fandom are perhaps the most toxic things to infiltrate the fandom. George Lucas did not once listen to fans.
No.
Not once. And that's why everything that came before Disney is going to be held as the pinnacle of Star Wars. From now until the end of time is my prediction, unless somebody equally talented comes along and takes the reins. But you can't say listen to the fans because then you get Rise of Skywalker.
Or you get millions of different opinions.
You get millions of different opinions. I mean, which fans?
You can't lead by
which fan?
Panel. Yeah, you can't lead by... Yeah, you can't do it that way.
The fandom is the reason why I don't call myself a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
I'm a Star Wars enthusiast. I'm not a fan, and I refuse to be considered a fan.
Yeah,
so,
and the like the statement by Crime. I understand where Crime Sweepers the website. I understand where you're coming from. I think, but when you make a definitive statement, as in they need to do this or they should do this or whatever, you're making a statement as you are 100% correct. And you're the judge and jury on this subject, and I'm not pointing you in general, just this mindset, and because it doesn't have to be Star Wars, it can be Marvel, it can be Doctor Who, it can be whatever, it doesn't matter. But you're making this judgment that you know best, and to that I would say, go make your own film.
Yeah, man. I mean, if you've got ideas about what makes a good story, then go make your own. Yeah. Just do your own thing, and you be the judge and jury, and you go for it. Yeah. I've met a lot of these fans, and they don't have good ideas.
You guys have seen some of my ideas. I'm sure they're terrible, and I'm glad they don't happen a lot of the time. But you got to be careful to. You can say I would like to see this, or I hope to see this, or something like that. But when you say they need to do this, or you're making statements that are like solid, definitive judgments about something without having any of the inside knowledge about what's going on, what's coming up the pipeline. You don't know anything. That's a tough call.
Well, in addition to what it takes to make a film, I mean, you're essentially saying that your ignorance is just as good as the knowledge of filmmakers.
Right.
Yeah, you know nothing about what it takes to tell a story, to make a film. All you know is that you've watched these movies, and this is what you in your heart want to see take place. And I get that. I look at people that I know, and I want all these great things to happen for them, and then great things don't wind up happening for them, and that just happens in life all the time. But for you to actually suggest that fans know better than people who have made it their life's work to tell stories and make movies is just absurd.
Yeah. And again, this is in all genres of fandom. It doesn't matter what it is. So
Right.
we see it everywhere. It doesn't even matter. So just we see all kinds of stuff. So be mindful of that. And
I could make better Marvel movies, though. Just saying.
I think honestly, I think anybody can make a better DC movie, but that's a different thing. So.
Still a big fan of Zack Snyder. Release the Snyder cut. I'm ready. I'm ready.
I had to throw that out there for some other people, but it's been fun. I'm not upset about any of it, honestly, because here's the thing. And you look back to I'll kind of compare season 7 of Clone Wars to season 8 of Game of Thrones, which Game of Thrones they crushed everything into 8 episodes, not even 12. Okay, now we're getting 12 episodes, and everybody's going, well, I wish we had 24. Well, hell, I wish we had 200 more, but we don't.
Right? Yeah.
We don't have that. We have 4 more to go, and we're going to enjoy them, and we're going to say thank you to Disney and Star Wars and Lucas and all these guys. Yeah. And then we're going to move on to the next thing, which is Kenobi, which is going to be
better or worse.
amazing.
Thanks for giving us Star Wars.
Kenobi, and then Cassian and Gate 2, and then Mandalorian.
Season 2 of Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm. Woo! I mean, there's so much stuff. It's like, it's crazy, man. There was that time, you guys remember, there was a time when there were no Star Wars stuff coming out. Now they're just throwing it out there. So just be thankful you're getting some stuff. So that's pretty cool. So there we go. Release the Snyder.
I seem to remember George Lucas giving up on Star Wars because far too many people were demanding that they listen to him or that he listen to them.
Right.
Yeah. We know Star Wars better than you, George.
Exactly. I emailed him that, and he is yet to respond. So
time for a follow up.
I got a question here, which was from Jack JAHT. I don't know how you say that. Texas something 92. I don't know. You guys got some weird names. Anyways, when's the pose off? I have been teasing a pose off, Terry.
What figure are we doing?
Well, let me go.
Boom.
Let me go get it. Hold on.
Well, you just had Maul.
Well, yeah. Well, that's true. I believe the pose off was discussed. Well, you brought it up, and because we have both recently acquired this figure.
Yeah, but I haven't opened mine yet.
Well, we can do one you actually have open. I don't care. I got to do a video on this guy, but we can do Maul. Do you have Maul?
I do have Maul, and I've opened Maul. I haven't taken him out of the box yet. I just opened him just to make sure he was okay.
Did you get the one with the bike?
He's cooped up in there. He can't get air. It's yeah.
Right. Did you get the speeder or no speeder?
I got it with speeder. Sorry.
Okay. The speeder base is humongous. We can do Maul. I'm not afraid of Maul. However, the reason they're asking is because we're going to do sometime this week. We'll do a live stream.
Somebody's going to be bleeding from those horns.
Yeah, they are no joke sharp. They are.
Do you get extra points or do you lose points for cutting yourself with the horns?
Bonus points, I think.
If you get blood on the figure, then you lose points.
Yeah, if you get blood on, if you get it on the figure, yeah. So you don't want to do that. But yeah, so sometime this week, I don't know what night. I have no idea. We'll figure it out. But I don't really care what night it is. We make a plan and we'll come out there and have I won't call a pose off, but I have some ideas that would make it fun. And we'll talk 6-scale figure collecting and that kind of stuff.
I don't work again till Friday, so.
So, how's Tuesday?
Yeah, that should work. I actually have 2 more figures coming in on Tuesday.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, I have a Jedi Patrol Trooper showing up on Tuesday, and I also have a Neon Tech Iron Man 2.0 figure showing up on Tuesday.
Well, we can't pose that one because I don't have that one. No. I do have the Jedi Patrol figure. I actually have 2 of them. I do like that one, but I don't think. I don't know. We could do a trooper pose off. That would be kind of fun. We all have.
That could be fun, yeah.
So we got plenty of troopers.
Jedi? I would totally break out Jedi. Yeah.
I tell you what we'll do. Let's make a list. You and I will make a list, and then we'll make a poll and let the people vote.
Oh, that's a great idea.
and let them vote on the pose off, and we'll go from
Yeah.
there. And
You put one on your YouTube channel, and I'll put one on my YouTube channel.
yeah, we'll just do a
And
poll.
we'll tally the results. Sound good?
Yeah, I'm in. So
Okay,
we'll figure.
cool.
We'll have to come up with a list of figures. We both have the same figure, so
All right.
go from
Yeah.
there. And Kent will do all vanilla poses with his Marvel Legends.
Yes.
Here's my pose. Judge it if you will. It's mine.
Wow, that's really awesome, man. I don't know if I can beat
I think
that.
it's great.
Looks like it was done by a pro.
Statue.
I don't think you're going to be able to. I have some ideas that'll make this a little more fun. I don't think you're going to be able to play amongst the rules, Kent. But that's fine because you're Sith, and it doesn't matter. So, it doesn't matter. Guys, I'm out of
I only
coffee.
got one rule.
Oh, well, then you got to go get coffee.
I'm out of coffee. So we've been
I've got
here
a-
for about an hour
I've
and
got a-
20 minutes or so. And I feel like
Yeah, it's
we've
far
had
longer than
a good
anticipated.
chat.
Yeah.
So we're going to wrap this up. And next week, we're going to go into, obviously, the next episode of Clone Wars, talk about more coffee stuff. And hopefully by then, maybe I'll have a pour-over report and talk about. I might even make a video on just freaking coffee this week and blow everybody's mind because it doesn't belong on my channel at all. But I might just do it. So
Yeah.
YouTube.
I wish that we could. Wish we could actually do that in person together. That would be a lot of fun.
right. So we can't do that yet, but we were. I
More months.
might just do that. So we'll see. I don't know. But
All right, man.
we're gonna jump on a vanilla pose off. Knight of Ren's got it. So
Winner.
we're gonna say thank you to you guys for joining us for this week.
Yeah, definitely. I had a good time with the audience interaction today, and you guys raised a lot of. You guys prompted a lot of great discussion, and thanks for that. Yeah. So until next time, we've spoken.
See you guys.